In the next 1 year, the vast majority of programmers will be replaced by AI programmers.
They may take up arms against it because it'll be so frightening to humans.
Programming plus math are the basis of sort of our whole digital world.
When the man who helped build Google says humanity might take up arms against machines, you pay attention. Eric Schmidt, the former Google CEO who guided the company into the AI era, just issued his most alarming warning yet. Artificial general intelligence isn't a distant dream. It's here, it's accelerating, and it might already be beyond control. In his latest interview, Schmidt said within the next decade, people could be fighting AI itself because it will evolve faster than governments can react. He predicts that within 3 to 6 years, most human jobs will vanish, and that within 10 years, AI will become smarter than all of us combined. This is not a movie trailer. This is one of the men who designed the digital world telling us that intelligence itself is about to outgrow humanity. Let's break down exactly what Schmidt revealed, how close
Today we're
we are
diving
to
into
recursive
a pretty stark
self-improving
warning about AI. Yeah, a warning that's got a lot of people talking. 3 main areas where AI is advancing way faster than anyone expected. Coding, cyber offense.
Quite convinced that this is the beginning of a new epoch. Henry, who was my best friend, and we as humans learned from going from direct faith in God to using our reasoning skills.
We have 18 months, just 18, before something catastrophic happens within AI. 1st of October 2024, which means 18 months from today, April the 30th, 2026. Now,
New non-human intelligence is likely to have better reasoning skills than humans can have.
increasingly powerful AI systems have the potential to accelerate scientific progress, unlock new medical treatments, and of course grow the economy.
Generally known as AGI and essentially superintelligence. This is going to happen really, really fast. People are not prepared for it.
Or we could face potential catastrophe. Now I know what you're thinking, another AI doomsday scenario. But hold on, scientific understanding, let's start with the coding part. Anthropic's own AI model, Claude, it went from solving just 2% of real-world coding problems to...
What I tell them is, one, this is not, ChatGPT is great, but that was 2 years ago. Everything's changed again.
in just 1 year. Think about that. That kind of exponential leap in capability has huge implications for how AI could be used. Both.
Second, you're not prepared for it. And two, you better get organized around it, the good and the bad. That in the next 2 to 4 years, the average is 3 years, the entire world will change.
Governments should urgently take action on AI policy in the next 18 months. This where it actually looks at how we've gone from GPT-1 all the way from GPT-4 now to this innovation area.
The agentic revolution, which everybody understands here what that means because many of you are in the middle of the agentic revolution, workflow example that's true of every business, every government, and every group human activity. The agentic revolution and the reasoning revolution together really change the way we operate as humans.
So we need corresponding innovations to sort of come alongside. Definitely advanced reasoning and test time compute.
Poorly designed knee-jerk regulation that hampers progress while also failing to be effective at preventing risks.
Watch it go forward and backward in its reasoning, and it will blow your mind away.
Which basically just means that something will occur first, like the tragedy will occur first, and then the regulation will be built around such tragedy.
Especially when you ask it a question that you have no idea what the question is about, and you watch it reason. The system begins to learn on itself where it goes forward at a rate that is impossible for us to understand.
So that it cannot occur again. And I don't think we want to do regulation like that. We would rather prevent inside AI companies we see continued progress on as yet undisclosed systems and results.
It becomes combinatorial in a way that we as humans do not understand combinatorics. My own view is it's 6, but who knows? Short-term answer is there are people who are now looking at how do you control a super intelligence with a dumb intelligence. Recursive self-improvement or recursive intelligence is where the system is learning itself. Beginning to see agentic solutions that are doing self-learning. You'll start using systems that are learning as you're using them. It's the natural progression. One of the reasons is that those reasoning models are infinitely more expensive than a Google search. many, many thousands of times. AGI means it's generally intelligent. Now, generally intelligent means that you get up in the morning and you have free will.
Eric Schmidt began by saying, "This is the start of a new era, comparable to the Enlightenment." Back then, humanity moved from blind faith to reason. Now, he says, we're about to witness a non-human intelligence that reasons better than humans ever could. And it's coming fast. He told governments that ChatGPT was just the beginning, that everything has changed again. Most world leaders, he says, have no idea what's coming and aren't even remotely prepared. Then he gave a timeline. Inside a small circle of researchers in San Francisco, the so-called consensus group, experts now believe the world will fundamentally change in 2 to 4 years. Their average prediction? 3 years. They base it on 2 parallel revolutions, reasoning and memory. Schmidt explains it through what he calls the agentic revolution. Imagine AI agents that think, remember, and act on their own. One agent finds your new home. Another checks the legal permits. Another designs the building. Another hires the contractor. And another sues the contractor when something goes wrong. Each agent handles a part of life or business without you lifting a finger. That, he says, is the future of every company, every government, and every human process. Language plus memory plus autonomy equals machines that can reason, plan, and act independently. Schmidt says what makes this terrifying is
I think
recursive
largely invented here in
self-improvement.
France.
When
And
AI starts
you have
training
free will,
itself,
and you basically have
he
this
described it as a chain reaction where systems learn faster than we can understand. Once that happens, he says, it becomes combinatorial, a kind of intelligence we humans don't even have words for. The San Francisco consensus predicts that moment is about 3 years away. Schmidt personally gives it 6. But either way, he says the transition will be explosive. He then drew a line between AGI and ASI, artificial superintelligence. AGI means human-level capability, an AI that can think, learn, and act with free will. Schmidt believes we'll reach that within 4 to 6 years, but ASI, superintelligence, is something else entirely. It's when AI becomes smarter than the sum of all human minds. He describes a test for it, a system that can prove truths we know are correct, but that no human alive can understand. Even if all of humanity worked together, we couldn't grasp the proof, but the machine could. And that, he warns, will frighten people. When humans realize they've built something beyond comprehension,
not
they might
yet
literally
present
take
in
up
these
arms
systems.
against it.
The consensus
He
is that
believes this
occurs. My
confrontation
own
could
dates
happen within a
are
decade.
between 4 to 6.
Of course, possibly because they are being tested or because revealing them could pose certain risks. So
Where the system is smarter than the sum of all humans. And the test for superintelligence is pretty simple. It can prove something that we know to be true, but we cannot understand the proof. No human can understand it. Even all of us together cannot understand it, but we know it's true.
this is where they're stating that these advances offer many positive applications, but progress in the same broad capability. Problem is that this progress also goes to those areas for misuse. Models have rapidly advanced on a broad range of coding tasks and cyber offense evaluations.
In the book, that when people see that, they may take up arms against it because it'll be so frightening.
Oh, so Eric Schmidt actually thinks that ASI will occur within the next 10 years. That's crazy.
A number of us wrote a paper on superintelligence where we speculated, how do you contain superintelligence? Your slope of innovation goes like that. In a network effect business, this is likely to produce slopes of gains at this level.
On a software engineering bench, software engineering task, models have improved from being able to solve 1.96% models can be used to obtain expert level knowledge about biology and chemistry. And for several models,
the opponent may decide that once you get there, they'll never catch up. If you believe that AI is this powerful, then every aspect of human experience will be touched by it. Democracies survive AGI, right? I mean, these are really the core questions about humanity.
Pretty wild interview so far. So in the upcoming part, Dr. Schmidt talks about the computational limits of building modern AI.
We're in a period of overbuilding. They'll say that there will be overcapacity in 2 or 3 years.
They've got a situation in their hands where these models, the problem is that pretty much every model has some kind of jailbreak, token, model, pwned, and basically there doesn't seem to be a real proper solution to the issue.
And when you ask them, they'll say, but I'll be fine and the other guys are going to lose all their money. If you believe the San Francisco consensus and you believe that reasoning, which is done through inference and through these back and forth, if you believe that those are going to be the defining aspects of humanity, then it's underhyped and we need even more. I've looked at this pretty hard because you have these massive data centers and NVIDIA is quite happy to sell them all the chips. I've never seen a situation where hardware capacity was not taken up by software.
Schmidt went deeper, describing a future where nations compete not just with weapons, but with algorithms. He said every major power is now racing to build AI researchers that are themselves AI. Imagine millions of autonomous scientists working 24 hours a day. No sleep, no food, just electricity. Each one making discoveries at digital speed. Once a country achieves that level of recursive AI innovation, its curve of progress explodes. Schmidt calls it a race condition of preemption. If one side reaches superintelligence first, the other might never catch up. And that could push nations into conflict. He admits that he's unsure whether humanity can contain something like this. Mathematicians are already trying to design frameworks to control a superintelligence with a dumber intelligence, but no one knows if it's possible. In his words, you can contain it, maybe. But we don't know. By the end of this year, Schmidt expects to see consumer systems that learn while you use them, adapting in real time. He calls it the natural progression of self-learning AI. And the hardware investments, tens of billions poured into NVIDIA GPUs and data centers, prove the tech industry knows what's coming. These systems, he says, are thousands of times more power-hungry than a Google search. But the world is building them anyway, because once reasoning machines scale, they'll outthink anything we've ever built. The illusion of control. Schmidt warns that what looks like a tech bubble, billions poured into data centers, isn't a bubble at all. He believes it's the foundation of a new industrial structure, the birth of an economy powered by reasoning machines. He recalls an old saying from Silicon Valley, "Grove giveth and gates taketh away." Every generation of hardware created new software that used up all its power. The same thing, he says, will happen now. Every new chip will immediately be consumed by even more advanced AI models. In other words, there is no end to the scale. AI is a scale-free field, just like mathematics, limitless in scope. Systems can now generate and prove their own mathematical conjectures using protocols like Lean, creating a loop of invention no human can match. Schmidt says software will soon follow the same path. Programmers will simply tell computers what they want, and the machines will write the code themselves. He admits it's unsettling. His entire academic career was in programming languages and operating systems. And now, he says, that whole field might vanish. When he asked a developer what language he was coding in, the reply was simple: why does it matter? The same recursive logic that builds useful software can also build cyber attacks. AI creating exploits faster than humans can defend them. Schmidt calls it both amazing and terrifying. Geopolitical impact. He warns that this technology will divide the world. In the US, companies like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic are keeping their models closed, while China is doing the opposite, releasing open-source models like DeepSeek, backed by state funding. That, Schmidt says, could flip the global balance. If open-source AI spreads faster, especially in developing nations, most of the world's AI usage might come from Chinese models, not Western ones. Even if America stays ahead technologically, its influence could shrink. This, Schmidt warns, could redefine geopolitics itself. where whoever controls the data and the chips
Old saying
controls
when
the
I was
future of
young,
civilization.
It was
He
Grove
calls it
giveth,
the race for silicon
and Gates
strategy.
taketh away. The old timers will remember that the Intel chips would get better, but your computer never got faster. That this is a bubble. It's much more likely that you're seeing a whole new industrial structure. So historically important discovery. It began, right, to give them some credit. Historical event is a very big deal, right? And I say that with great respect for what they...
Eric Schmidt calls AI a scale-free field, meaning there's no limit to how much AI can advance.
The way these systems will scale is if the fastest scaling things will be called scale-free.
Models can be used to obtain expert-level knowledge about biology and chemistry, and of course, the knowledge that they're giving them isn't like GPT 3.5. Based on the progress described above, we believe we are now substantially closer to such risks. Surgical, careful regulation will soon be needed.
So what's an example of a scale-free field? Math, right? Completely new structures, which have no basis in fact, because that's the beauty of mathematics, and we know how powerful mathematics is. You can have one system that generates conjectures and another system that proves it, and that's a scale-free solution.
Research altogether, what they want is a balanced approach, one that focuses on 3 key principles. They're suggesting something called responsible scaling policies. Think of these as frameworks that evolve right alongside AI capabilities. It's a reminder that we have a responsibility to shape this technology in a way that benefits all of us. All for transparency and security. And for simple regulations that can adapt as AI changes. That's a really good starting point.
Software can be understood as eventually software people will say what they want and the computer will write the code. Language design and computer OS architectures. To see my entire validation be destroyed is the twin to cyber. So it will also, on the negative side, be possible to generate an enormous number of, and that's the basis for this power explosion in infrastructure. That's how we solve climate change.
How does the chip race change global AI power dynamics?
And they were telling me that on a math basis, there's more open source in Europe than there is in the US. So that was really interesting. In the United States, because of the enormous amount of capital, the companies are not typically doing open source. If you have 2 models, open source and closed source, the open source will get much more adoption. America and the West are ahead, but the majority of the AI use is actually not from US.
What mistakes were made during the mobile wave that companies should today take into consideration and try to avoid in their new roadmap?
Every mistake I made was fundamentally one of time. When I look back at what we did at Google, but we didn't move fast enough. We didn't take it to its logical extreme as a sort of communications mechanism. I did not fully understand that your phone number would become your real unique ID in the world.
In the industry, there is a concern that people don't understand this.
So basically what they're stating here is that, look, when you've got all of this progress, the SWE bench going so crazy, we need to think about the fact that how AI systems have progressed dramatically in their understanding of the sciences in the last year. The widely used benchmark, the GPQA, the initial glimmers of risks that could become real serious in the near future. But we don't know exactly when the real dangers will arrive. Where they discuss their responsible scaling policy, which is how they manage to increase the capabilities of these models whilst keeping them safe. They also talk about the fact that the RSP should be iterative, basically saying that with every update, they need to make sure that they update this regularly. Actually talk about how they're going to internally document their findings and recommendations regarding the safeguards they've implemented. So it will be interesting to see a real thing. They're basically stating here that currently we don't have any way to verify any AI companies' adherence to responsible scaling. And they're basically stating, look, transparency alone doesn't guarantee robust policies, because the problem is that yes, these companies might be open about what's accelerating the AI industry. They talk about, of course, they must not impose burdens that are unnecessary or unrelated to the issues at hand. This is where they get into the, FAQs. And I think this is really good because I know a lot of people are going to have questions. Maybe you've even commented something down below. The RSP framework, we have advocated for high flexibility in designing these tests because the science of AI risk evaluation is nascent. And it says, our view is that regulation of frontier models should focus on empirically measured risks, not on whether a system is open source or closed.
Are enormous, right? Revolutionizing healthcare. Tackling climate change can help us solve some of humanity's biggest problems, all for transparency and security. And for simple regulations that can adapt as AI changes. That's a really good starting point. And it's one we all need to be part of. It's not just up to governments and tech companies, it's up to all of us. The choices we make, the things we talk about, the actions we take.
The final message. As his talk ended, around 1700 mark in the original video, Schmidt reflected on his time leading Google through the mobile revolution. His biggest regret was waiting too long. He said every mistake he made was one of timing, moving too slow while others moved fast. And now he's warning tech leaders not to repeat that mistake with AI. If you're going to do this, he said, do it now and move very, very fast. Because this market won't wait to Schmidt. Speed is survival. But to the rest of us, that speed could be the very thing that destroys us. Recursive. AI systems don't just evolve, they accelerate beyond our ability to predict them. Once we lose control, there is no pause button. The real question is no longer, when will AGI arrive? It's, can we survive what comes after? Eric Schmidt says the arrival of non-human intelligence will be the greatest event in human history, and possibly our last chance to shape it. From supercomputers to self-learning robots, the future is arriving faster than anyone expected. He believes it could be a new enlightenment, or a dark age of our own making. So the question remains, if AI learns faster than we can understand it, and governments can't keep up, who will decide what humanity becomes? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us as we unpack the truth behind AI,
it'll be so
power,
when people
and the
see
people
that,
racing to
they may
control it
take up
before it
arms
controls
against
us.
it.
Schmidt just gave another controversial interview. In his hour-long interview, he warned that AGI is arriving very soon.
Because it'll be so frightening to humans. Now, I think this will occur within a decade.
It comes from Anthropic, an AI company that's actually known for its work on AI safety. And they're saying we only have 18 months.